Maid of honor kicked out of wedding on wedding day. Things escalate. I tried to warn the bride that her bridesmaids' dresses wouldn't work for me, but she insisted, and now she's pissed because I look like the bride. I'm supposed to be the mo-in tonight for a wedding. My husband is the best man, and we've been friends with this couple for a long time. The problem is now I'm being kicked out for being black, and my husband wants to step down as best man because of it, and it's causing a whole thing. To clarify, because it's important, the bride is not racist in any way, she's just kinda dumb for refusing to listen. My skin color is the issue, but not because she has a problem with it overall, but just because she didn't realize that my skin would make a dress look different on me than on others. She has had this vision for her wedding forever, apparently. Her bridesmaids' dresses are nearly identical to her wedding dress in style, except a different color, and on the bridesmaids' dresses the detailing stops at the waist, and they are not laced up in the back. My dress as Mo is an exact carbon copy of hers, just in the other color. Here's where it gets to be a mess. She picked this color the company calls morning gray for her bridesmaids' dresses. Morning gray, for anyone wondering, is like a soft pastel gray that's about a shade of white. On the other bridesmaids, the dress absolutely looks gray. A very soft, very ethereal gray, but a gray nonetheless. All the other bridesmaids are also white. I'm not. I'm not only black, but as I've been to the beach for another wedding this year, I'm darker than I normally am. Against my skin, the dress undeniably looks white. Like, the only way you can tell mine is actually gray is if I'm standing directly next to the bride and the dresses are side by side, then you can see mine is slightly gray and hers isn't. Now the bride ordered all of the dresses and picked the color herself. I tried to tell her she should order mine in a darker shade of gray, because I've been down this road before where I've been accused of wearing white at a wedding because a dress I wore looked white in the sunlight even though it wasn't. She insisted that she had her cousin try it on, and the color was perfect, and you could easily tell it was gray. I tried to explain to her that her cousin is the color of printer paper and that it would look different on me, but she was unwilling to have her vision modified. Now she's pissed at me because even though it's clear hanging with the other dresses, mine is the same color as the other bridesmaids. She has decided the only option is to kick me out of the wedding so I don't upstage her. However, she wants me to give my dress to one of the other bridesmaids, which I said I was fine with as soon as she reimbursed me the money for it. $350 compared to the rest of the bridesmaids who paid about $125, but then one of the bridesmaids promptly pointed out none of them could even wear my dress. I'm not huge, but I am incredibly top-heavy. I wear a 34H bra, which is part of why my dress was so much more expensive than the other bridesmaids, the other part being the extra detailing. So none of the other bridesmaids would be able to keep my dress up, even if the lacing was pulled as tight as it would go. So now she's decided I have ruined her perfect wedding, screamed at me, and told me that not only am I not in the wedding, but she doesn't even want me to attend as a guest, which pissed off my husband. Because she was warned, I even sent her photos of a dress I wore that was almost the same color to a different wedding. And B, because he doesn't want to attend a wedding we traveled for without me, and he thinks it's crap since she insisted on the dress color. Update. Suwu. After I posted, things got ugly and the groom called everything off. I initially offered to dye the dress since I was the only person not getting my hair done. My hair has been damaged more than once by stylists who don't know how to handle the texture, so I am very limited in who I will let do it, and instead usually do it myself. The groom thought this was a great idea and even offered to pay for the stuff needed to dye it and let me use his parents' place to do it. While he went to go talk to his parents, though my now ex nixed that because then I would stand out even more. So I asked what she meant by stand out even more, and a whole lot of truth came out. Apparently she initially hadn't wanted me in the wedding at all. But her ex-fiancé is one of my oldest and best friends, and my husband was, note the past tense, one of hers. That's why we introduced them to each other in the first place, because we thought they would hit it off, and they did. Anyway, because my husband was the closest thing she has to a sibling, she really wanted him to be the man of honor at their wedding, and initially ex-groom said that was fine, and he would just have me as a best woman so things would look balanced and two men didn't have to walk down the aisle or whatever. She really didn't like that, so they decided to switch us up, no big deal. Except, apparently it was because I'm the only person of color in the whole wedding party and one of very few who will be at the wedding at all, and I'm going to stand out in every single picture. I asked her what about the groom's parents. The groom is white, but he's adopted by a black couple and is quite close to both his biological and adoptive parents. But if you ask who his parents are, he always says the people who raised him. Her theory was that his biological parents would be in the pictures, not his adoptive parents. Well, when the groom came back and heard this, he flipped out, and then she said the dumbest thing she could have said. Apparently, it's not his fault, he had no control over who adopted him, and the pictures should just be real family. Well, at that point, the groom had heard enough and told her that they were his real family, and he couldn't believe she would say that. She was not the person he thought she was, and he was not marrying her. She gets pissed and tells him he's being ridiculous, but his parents can be in some of the photos, and they will take some without. He tells her again that he is in no way, shape, manner, or form marrying her after what he heard, and in fact he wants nothing to do with her. She gets upset and says, well, she's at least going to go have fun at the reception. He reminds her that he and his parents paid for everything including the reception, and she is not welcome, and he will be informing the security of that fact. The bride runs off and tells her parents what he's saying and doing, so they come out guns blazing and all to confront him, but apparently she didn't give them all the facts because when he laid it out for them they were appalled. Her father literally tore her a new one, talking about how she was not raised that way and he couldn't believe this was the person she had become. They apologized to the groom, offered to pay for half of the wedding, and they left with their daughter. So we spent the afternoon with the groom, several of the bridesmaids, and all of the groomsmen, who were all equally shocked by her behavior. I'd say we were consoling the groom, but we weren't. He was too busy ranting about dodging a bullet. Last night we went to the reception, partied until like 3 a.m. and had a great time. As for the dress, I have an event later this summer, and I'm going to dye the dress and wear it for that. Next story. My stepdaughter died 4 weeks ago, and I caught my husband and his ex-wife in our bed. My stepdaughter, Becca 14F, died 4 weeks ago. I've been in her life since she was 7 years old. We were extremely close. My husband Derek 40M, his ex-wife Sam 38F, and I 35F get along very well. There has never been an issue in the 7 years that I've been with Derek. Sam has always been kind to me. She didn't even care that Becca called me Mom too. Right after Becca's passing, Sam had so much anxiety and depression that she was unable to be by herself. She has no family besides us, so we invited her to stay with us. Sam hardly leaves the house. She mostly just sleeps in Becca's room, which is completely understandable. I always tell her that I'm here if she needs me and that I want her to take her time with grieving, and that there is no pressure to go back to her home. Today I needed to run some errands, so I asked Sam if she'd like to join me to get out of the house a little bit, but she declined and said she'd rather just stay at the house and sleep. I told Derek that I was leaving and that I would be back in 2-ish hours. He works from home. I also told him to check on Sam every once in a while and maybe try getting her to eat something. After stopping at the post office, I realized I forgot my library book that I needed to return, so I went back home to get it. As soon as I walked in the door, I heard moaning coming from mine and Derek's bedroom. I immediately knew what was happening, and my heart completely broke in that moment. I wasn't completely sure what to do, but I ended up deciding to confront them, so I walked to the bedroom and opened the door and began yelling at them both. Sam started having an anxiety attack and ran to the bathroom, while Derek kept apologizing profusely. I asked him what the hell was happening. He told me that he made himself and Sam some lunch, and they began talking about Becca and shared some memories. And then Sam ended up kissing him, and he didn't pull back, and then it ended with them in our bed. They're begging me to understand that it was just grief that caused them to become intimate and that they both made a mistake. I don't know what to do. I love this man, and I love Sam. I'm heartbroken that they did this to me and put me in this position. I feel so stuck. Update. I decided that I'm filing for a divorce. I can't ever trust Derek again. It sucks because we had an amazing relationship, I thought. He's always been great, so this was a complete shock to me. Last night, Derek came over to talk. He confessed to a lot. Turns out it wasn't their first time having sex like most people thought. They've been having sex since 3 months before Becca died. I am completely shocked and heartbroken. Sam also reached out last night and thanked me for everything I've done for her and told me she was sorry. I didn't respond. I blocked her. I did so much for Sam and considered her a friend, so this hurts a lot, more than I can handle. This is all too much. As hard as this is gonna be, I need to leave Derek and cut them both out of my life. I am ready to do so. I am done. Also, some people are saying I deserved this because I should have known better than to let Sam into our home around Derek. But you need to understand that I'm a giving person. I trust people more than I should. I truly thought Sam was an amazing person. I know it's unusual to become friends with your husband's ex-wife, but it's just how it went for us, and I shouldn't be blamed for what happened. Thank you to everyone who commented nice things and for the kind messages. You've all been helpful during this insanely difficult time. I appreciate it. Updates 2. I'm getting lots of questions about some things, so I figured I'd answer a few of them. Have I told anyone about what happened besides my mom? Yes, I told a few friends and some family members. Most of them are supportive of my decision and aren't speaking to Derek. Where is Derek staying? Currently, he's staying at a hotel. Our friends refuse to let him stay with them. He's lost a lot of people due to his awful decisions. Has he tried fighting me on getting a divorce? Yes, he begged me not to file for divorce, but when I told him I needed him to just let me go, and that I was too exhausted to fight him on this, he let it be and agreed to getting a divorce. Why isn't Derek staying with Sam? He told me he didn't want to continue to hurt me. So he told Sam he was done with her for good and that they have no reason to speak to each other anymore. I have no idea if that'll last and if they'll just end up together, but I truly don't care what they do anymore. I just want peace. What was Derek's excuse for cheating? He told me that they just accidentally reconnected one night when I was away at my mom's. He was stressed we weren't conceiving and were having miscarriages, so he vented to Sam, and then somehow that led to sex. Disgusting of them both, I know. Feel free to ask anything else, and I'll try to answer. Thank you everyone for your support and advice. Update 3. I just found out that he is staying with Sam and not at the hotel. He told me it's too expensive to stay at a hotel and Sam is the only one that'll help him right now. I had a feeling this would happen. Just knowing that they are still probably sleeping together hurts my heart. I talked to a lawyer this morning, and we are proceeding with the divorce and Derek agreed to it. It's actually happening, and I feel some relief that he's not fighting me on this. My mom leaves on Sunday. I'm scared to be alone, but I go back to work on Monday, so I'm hoping it'll be a good distraction. I'll keep updating if anything else happens. Thank you everyone. I am so grateful for you all. Update 4. Becca's diary. I decided to go through some of Becca's stuff today. I just found her diary in a box in the back of her closet. Would it be wrong to read some of it? I feel like it would help me feel closer to her, but part of me feels like it's wrong too. I haven't told Derek that I found it either, and I'm unsure if I should tell him. What would you do? Update 5. I figured it's been a few days, so I should give a little update. My mom is leaving in a couple hours, so I'll be alone. I'm kinda nervous about it. She helped me stay distracted and kept me going. Idea how I'm gonna handle her being gone. I go back to work tomorrow, first day back since Becca passed away. I'm looking forward to it though because it'll keep me distracted. Also, I did read some of Becca's diary. It made me love her even more. She was such a sweetheart. I went back a few months and saw that she noticed some weird behavior between Derek and Sam. Didn't mention that she knew of the affair, but she just wrote that she thought it was kinda strange that they all three would hang out more than usual without me. I might read more, but so far I haven't found anything that's disturbing. Just her being a teenager and talking about crushes, fights with friends, happy family memories, etc. Tomorrow I'm also talking to my lawyer, so I might have more updates on that. Thanks for the continuous love and support, everyone. Update 6. Started randomly getting a lot more message comments, so I figured I'd do another little last update. My first week back at work went great. I wasn't expecting it to go so well, but thankfully it did. My coworkers were so helpful and patient with me. On Friday night, I decided I didn't want to stay home all weekend alone, so I decided to drive up to my mom's. It helps I have a 3-day weekend so I can spend more time with her. I'm heading back home tomorrow. Also, for those of you that have messaged me hateful things for reading Becca's diary, I just have to say you aren't in my shoes right now. Telling me I'm a bad mom because I'm reading her diary is just ridiculous. I learned so much more about her, about how caring and sweet she is, and it made me love her even more. It's how I'm able to feel so close to her right now. So please don't tell me I'm a bad parent for just trying to get by one of the hardest times of my life. You have no idea what it's like. I don't have much of an update, so this will be it. I'll come back and update once the divorce happens though. Thank you to those of you that have been nothing but kind and helpful. You helped me feel less alone. I'll forever be grateful. Update 7. Sam saw my Reddit post and is threatening to sue me. Sam made a fake FB profile to message me and tell me she wants to sue me for telling strangers about what happened. Derek supports her apparently. I don't need this. Am I not allowed to vent about my life to people online? I just want life to get better. I'm so tired. F you Sam. F you Derek. Edit. Sam is in the comments and messaged me on here too. Blocked her. Additional information from OP. OP on the message from Sam. OP, no, I just ignored her. It might be an empty threat just to make my life harder, but I'm unsure. Her message said, so I was scrolling TikTok and ended up on an account where they read Reddit posts and guess whose posts they read? Yours. First you tell friends and family, and then you go to a bunch of strangers and tell them our life story. I can't believe you. It isn't just your business to tell. Becca would be so disappointed in you. Be prepared cause I think I'm gonna be suing you for this. This was no one else's business. You did this to yourself, remember that. I'm actually baffled. She thinks Becca would be disappointed in me. What the F? Next story. Now I have won my husband back. I am leaving him. I have secured an apartment for my baby and me, and I have put everything in order and prepared for custody. Shared or otherwise. I have divided the money and transferred my share to a third account, and it will stay there until the divorce proceedings and the dividing of the assets. I found out that my husband was having an affair while I was postpartum. I thought that I would die because I love him, and it felt like my heart was broken into a million pieces. I knew that it was over, but my curiosity got the best of me. I wanted to know why. What was it she had that I didn't? Did he love her? I started reading his texts and everything was there. He felt like he was alive again. He was happy and excited. She's single and childless, so she had all the time in the world to make him her priority. He felt seen and desired by her. I was confused because even with life coming between us, he was always my love, and I made sure he knew that every day. Still, it wasn't enough. I read thousands upon thousands of messages between them, and I started being everything he fantasized about. In the beginning, it felt weird, and he was confused, but I just went on. Every time he made plans with her, I found a way to make him stay, or I made sure that I sent him exhausted to her. The messages became less and less frequent, and the passion and excitement subsided. Soon answering her became more of a chore. The complaining started and him pulling away. He was happier at home, and he couldn't wait to come home. He started texting me again during the day. The sweetest texts of how he missed me. He was his old self back. One day what I hoped and waited patiently for happened. He ended things with her. He told her that he loved me and that now everything was great again. Her services weren't needed, in other words. I felt relief and finally I could move on. Now I am preparing for my divorce. He will get the papers the day I leave for my new life in my new apartment. I know I will get a lot of hate for this because I have neglected my husband and pushed him to seek solace in another woman's arms when I apparently could given him what he sought all along, and believe me, I will bear the guilt for the rest of my life. In my defense, I didn't do it intentionally. Our lives had just been altered drastically, and I was trying to navigate this new and exciting existence. I was immersed in this new kind of happiness that I thought I was sharing with him. And I was trying to get to know my new body that I couldn't recognize anymore. A real scary feeling. But he could have come to me with his hurt. He could have talked to me about his suffering. He could have tried to make me understand, but he chose not to. He decided to deceive me. Deceive us. He ruined our love, our future, and even our history. Nothing was, is, or will be the same again. Update. Moving out April 1st. Probably the cruelest April Fool I could play on my dear husband. He always loved April Fool. I feel a lot of guilt and guilt-related pain. I know what I am doing is so cruel, but I guess I will just keep going with my plans. There's no turning back now. Whenever I feel crap like I am the bad guy, I just remember their conversations. No, I am not the villain here. I will end the marriage, and I will tell him that it is because we aren't compatible anymore. Let him think whatever. I have decided maybe I shouldn't tell him that I know about her. Let him run back to her once he realizes that I am really gone. When my baby is older, we could tell him that we got an amicable divorce. No hurt or hard feelings. Two people who fell out of love. My boy doesn't need to know his daddy broke up the family. It is okay, you can hate me. Update 2. I have left my husband and filed for divorce. I am starting to think that it's not so bad and that I will be alright. Well, hello and sorry for being so absent. I know that I promised an update once I got out, but I have been so busy adjusting to my new life. I have received hundreds of "Have you moved out?" and "Is there an update?" DMs and comments. I hope everyone who asked sees this because I have no possibility to answer each and every one. Also, I don't know how many times I am allowed to update here. Hopefully this is okay. I did exactly as I planned. I moved out after I left my husband divorce papers. I told him that I wasn't in love with him anymore and that I think we are better off as co-parents than as a couple. That I have found a new place and he could buy me out of our current home or sell the property once the divorce is finalized. He was in a total shock, but probably not the same shock I was in when I found out that he was cheating on me. He literally asked if I hit my head and even was telling people that he was worried that I had brain tumor. He was very angry in the beginning and wanted answers. No answer was good enough. Is there someone else? No, dear husband. There isn't someone else, but there isn't you either. The audacity of that man. I reminded him that we still had our son and to think about him before acting vindictive. Sure enough, he kept it civil around our son. One thing he kept asking is why and how long ago I have stopped loving him. He didn't get any answers from me. Other than that, everything has been fine with me. I am adjusting well. I still miss him, but at the same time I feel like I could finally breathe. I feel like I have been living on shallow breathing for the past months, and now I could take full breaths. Our families are very sad and mostly shocked, but honestly they have been very understanding. There's no bad reason for divorce. Wanting divorce is a good enough reason for them. To want to separate, to not want to be with your partner. My ex-in-laws are still very active in my son's life, and they have been very cordial, if yet a bit cold towards me. That represented itself when about 2 weeks ago, my mother-in-law in a bit passive-aggressive tone told me that my husband has started seeing someone. She apologized immediately and said that she just wanted me to know and be prepared that he had someone new, and yet I couldn't help but hear some vindication in her voice. I just answered, "Oh, do you mean Karen?" I gave the mistress this name for obvious reasons. She looked shocked and asked me, "Did you know? Did he talk to you about it?" I said, "Oh no, but she isn't new." I told her that he has been sleeping with her since I just had given birth, maybe even before that. I kept my voice very quiet and monotone like we were discussing the weather. I was already regretting my slip, but the news that he started seeing Karen again, while very much anticipated, still made my heart hurt. My mother and father-in-law just looked at each other. I don't know if they believed me, but then how would I have known about Karen when I have refused to see him in person since our breakup? So now everyone knows anyway, and I have learned that you can't keep these things to yourself indefinitely. Since he found out, he has been called and apologizing every day. Why didn't you tell me? How much did I hurt you? He said that he loved me and never stopped loving me. That he was so sorry for everything and that he would do anything to have me back as his wife. My mother-in-law apologized too, even though she had no control over what her grown-up son did or does. It's not her fault. He writes that he loves me every night before bed. I hope this doesn't mean that he would make the divorce drag out, because then I have failed my plan, but he seems to be less forgiving of the divorce when he knew that he was the reason for it than when he thought it was mine. Weird. The divorce is still processing, and if anything major happens, I will be here again if I haven't outstayed my welcome already. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel James Stories.